Hi, if you're a new plant beginner or if you are somebody who is interested in getting a houseplant collection started for yourself, I am going to go over in this quick video today some just few things that it would be helpful that you would have in your home when you bring plants in that will just make your life easier. So if that's something that you're interested in, stick around. Okay, so when it comes to houseplants, I am very not, I don't know if I'd say hands off, but I am very on the side of not putting a lot of money into this, not getting the next best thing. I don't think you need a whole bunch of stuff to be a successful plant parent. Okay. I think that plants will thrive in your home if you just have a few very basic things that are not going to break the bank and that are easily accessible for most people. So the first thing that we're going to start off with is a good soil. Okay, now listen. I don't think this is a 100% must that you go get an expensive chunky soil. You can definitely start your houseplant collection off of Miracle Grow that you can find at the grocery store. Okay, so if your budget or maybe resources in your area are preventing you from buying a high quality chunky soil of any sort, don't let that stop you. Just go buy some Miracle Grow. It'll be okay for the time being. But I do think that there is something to be said about a good quality chunky soil. Okay, you can find this stuff off of Amazon. I am not brand loyal necessarily. This is just something that I picked up at a local nursery that I wanted to try out. I just order my stuff off of Amazon, or I just try things from a local nursery. I am not super picky. I do want to see that it is a chunky soil. So if you're going to go this route, I would look for something that is a chunky soil because that is going to help the water roll through your soil and not make it so dense, because when you have really dense soil that is really compact, that's really heavy, that can lead to a lot of overwatering, which then can lead to some pests and bacteria and mold and things like that that you do not want to deal with. So if you are using just a regular Miracle Grow that is a little bit more dense, for the time being, that's okay. Just really be careful that you're not overwatering. I just don't want you to have to experience all those other things that come along with that and get discouraged. A lot of your chunky soils are going to have something like this as a scale on the top of it. This one specifically says moisture retention, and you can see that it's filled in right at the medium there. Okay, so this is not the most chunky soil you could get, but it's also not the most dense soil that you can get. That's kind of what I like to do, is find a good happy medium instead of going extreme either way. Another thing that I do think is important, and it is relatively cheap. So if you are using just a regular Miracle Grow soil, this would be a thing that is cheaper for you to invest in than a chunky soil that's not going to break the bank. And that is just simply perlite. You can just get this off of Amazon. This is not a big bag, but it will last for a few different transplants of plants here. This is going to help with to aerate the soil, to improve drainage. It's basically just an additive that you add to the soil to make it so it's harder to overwater, and the soil is getting watered and the roots are getting watered, but it's not, the water isn't staying stagnant in there to create these other issues that we talked about earlier. I think I got this off of Amazon for like $6 or $7. It's not a huge bag. It is 2 dry quarts, it says, but this would be a great thing that is inexpensive for you to start out with, for you just to add to your Miracle Grow. It'll help in the sense of drainage versus not using it at all. And you will see your Miracle Grow probably does have some perlite in it. It's probably not enough, to be honest with you. It's still probably going to be a very dense soil. So I would recommend adding this in if you can. That would be the best case scenario. Another thing that I have been recently transitioning to is using clear pots and clear pots only. And I think that when you're starting out on your plant journey, if I were you, I would just go ahead and start with clear pots just straight up from the beginning. They are very inexpensive. I got this whole pack of like 50. They're assorted sizes for like, I don't know, $5 or $6 off of Amazon. Okay. If you're on TikTok, they have them on the TikTok shop as well. You can find these pretty much anywhere. You might be even able to find these like at your local nursery or any plant store, but for sure Amazon. And these are nothing special. They are not super thick. They're not exactly super sturdy, but the point is that you put your plant in here, and then you can put this whole pot into a decorative pot if you don't like the look of the clear pots. I am about halfway through my plant collection in transitioning everything over to clear pots because that is new to me. But the benefits of it is that, first of all, you're going to be able to see the roots. So you can see in this pothos here that you can see that root right there, right? So I can look and I can see if it looks nice and healthy. Okay, if that root right there was like brownish or kind of looked like grayish or definitely black, I would know that this pothos has got a problem. Okay, it's probably experiencing some root rot, and I probably need to unplant it and look at the situation and figure out if I can save it. So that's one reason, is I want to be able to observe the roots. I also want to be able to observe how dry it is. So this plant is actually pretty dry right now. Yep, it's in need of watering as we speak. So it is completely, you can tell just by looking through it that it is completely dry all the way down to the bottom. So when I go to water it, and I'm going to bottom water this one, we're going to literally see it creep up and come to up to about here. And this prevents the topsoil from getting wet and dingy and creating mold and things. And then I can see how damp or dry my plant is. That is also helpful for like every week when you're going to walk around and look at your plants to see if they need water. Instead of, feeling the dirt and sticking your finger in there, you can simply look. And if I still have dampness up to here, I'm probably okay. And I should check back in a few days. I don't need to worry about it right now. It still has moisture. I can check back in a few days and look at it and see if it's completely dry at that point. Another reason is just like preference. I think it's easier to carry these around. I don't have this in a decorative pot right now, but I could totally put it into a decorative pot. And then instead of carrying around that heavy ceramic pot to go water and things like that, you just take this out of it, water, and then pop it back in. Another thing that I do think is important is prop drops. These are not a necessity at all, but this bottle is only about $15 over on the TikTok, and it'll last you a long time, and I totally think it's worth it. So if you're interested in this, to purchase this exact thing, in the description of this video, I always put all of my social media handles, my Instagram, my Facebook, and my TikTok, and you can go in there, find me on TikTok, go to my profile, go to my showcase, and one of the first ones will be these prop drops. You can order them right off of there. They're going to be great if you're going to be propagating any cuttings at all. I use them for every single cutting that I propagate. And then also when I go to plant that propagation or that cutting with the roots, I go ahead and put this in my soil because it helps just grow a healthier plant, and it has been shown to help with that aftershock. So sometimes when you take a cutting out of water where it was growing roots and thriving, and you put it into soil, sometimes it can have a little bit of an adverse reaction, and sometimes it gets kind of droopy looking or sad looking for a while, and that's that aftershock. And then this helps it bounce back faster and more stronger. All right, these are another thing that you can find on my TikTok shop showcase, or you can even just find them on Amazon. You don't have to use my links. That is totally fine. These are little tiny bug catchers. So sometimes with plants, we have those little like gnats, those like fruit gnats and stuff, little tiny guys that fly around, and they like our plants, and they especially like our plants when the top of the soil is moist. That is where they like to be. And these will help so much with that. So you take off this white part, and underneath it is sticky on both sides, and you just stick this into the side of the plant, and you will be amazed at how much it will catch. This came in a package of so many. I don't even know how many is in there, and it was just a few bucks over on the TikTok shop. So that is another thing that is an inexpensive thing that can help keep your sanity, because I promise you, when you start getting those little gnats flying all over the place, you're not going to be happy. Okay, the last thing that we're going to talk about, and again, this is not a necessity, but I do think that it is something to think about, but don't worry, you don't have to go buy anything special. I bet you have something at home that you can use to do this. So I'm going to show you something a little bit more of a fancier option. This was still super inexpensive. I think it was like $13 off of Amazon. I call this my propagation station. This is where I propagate my cuttings. Now, usually I have more cuttings than this propagating at a time, so I can't fit them all in here. I usually have to use other vessels to put them in as well, which I'll explain in just a minute. But this was really inexpensive. I like that it keeps them all together. I set this on my counter next to my sink. There's a window right there. There doesn't have to be a window, but the plants do like it when they can get some light. And this is my propagation station. So when I go around my house and I look at what plants need to be pruned, where I want to take cuttings from, I go ahead and cut. I put it in water. I put my prop drops in, and then I just let them go and they just flourish. Now, if you don't have the means or you just don't want to go buy a station like that, by the way, Amazon is going to have lots of different varieties too. You can get ones that hang on the wall. You can get ones that have more than just 5. There are so many different variations. But if you don't want to go shopping at all for that, you don't want to spend any money, I totally understand. Just use a cup. Just use a cup. You can use mason jars. You can use a plastic cup. I mean, you can literally use anything. I have these little tiny cups, and I don't know what else I would use these for, so I use them for propagating. But you can literally use a drinking cup if that is literally all you have, okay? And that is totally fine. All you need, you could use a vase. All you need is a vessel that can hold water that you can stick a cutting into, okay? Now, I will say it is helpful if the top isn't super wide, because you don't want your cutting to go like leaf and everything all the way in there. That can create some like sogginess and some like molding on the leaves. Really, you just want like a little bit above the roots, where the roots are going to come out. Really, that's all you want in water. But there are so many options, you guys. Don't let propagation and having a setup, don't let that stop you from propagating plants, because I promise you, it is a really, really, really cool thing to do. If you have kids, it's a really awesome thing to involve them in the process. They will love it, and they will like, checking them every day to see if there's any root growth or anything like that. You could turn it into a little scientific experiment. Another thing that I have done with my prop drops with my kids is I have done an experiment where we used one of these and put the prop drops in there, and then we used another one, ingested water, to see how differently, at the different rates that they grew roots. And of course, the prop drop one grew exponentially faster and stronger. The roots were thicker, they were just more healthy, and you could tell. But like I said, again, if you don't have the prop drops and don't have the means to go get them, don't let that stop you. I think in general, and I talk about this in another one of my videos about plants, I think in the watering one, where I'm talking about no fuss watering. If you haven't seen that, go check it out on my channel. I talk in there a lot about how I think people with houseplants scare non-house plant people from getting into it, even if maybe they want to, because they're worried they'll fail. They're worried that they're going to do something wrong, and it's not going to work out. And then there's a failure of a plant there. And I just want to put your mind at ease that I really don't think it's that complicated. I think that people overcomplicate it. When you're getting into those rare and exotic plants, yeah, you might need a little bit more special soil or special, different fertilizers and things like that. They do require very specific light and watering techniques and things. But when you're talking about your regular house plants, which is what I talk a lot about on my channel, just easy everyday house plants that you can add to your home to brighten up the space, to liven up the space, to bring some nature into your house, to make it cozy and warm feeling. That does not need to be overthought. And I promise you that anybody can do it, and you can too. So that's what I've got for you today. I thank you so much for staying with me and hanging out and listening. If there's any specific questions or topics you would like me to cover, I am always willing to look over those and think about adding them to my channel. I would love to hear your guys' input. What questions are you wanting answered? What topics do you want discussed? And I would love to bring that to my channel here. So definitely leave me a comment. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And I would be so grateful if you would subscribe to my channel. And I've got lots of other plant content on here and lots more coming. I also do just regular lifestyle stuff. I am on a journey to 500 subscribers by January 1st of 2025. We've only got a couple months left. I don't know if we're going to get there. That was a high goal, but it is something that I am working towards. I would love your help and support on all of my videos. Go look at my channel. Tell me what topics you like the most. Tell me what topics you don't like, and we will take all of that into consideration. So thanks again for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.